Last-minute Ravens alert. Something important is changing in Baltimore. The Baltimore Ravens are at a crossroads this season, and the next steps could redefine everything. After 2 consecutive losses, mounting pressure, and key players struggling with physical limitations, the organization is quietly signaling changes. Comments coming from within the team reveal more than usual, and if you pay attention, the clues are impossible to ignore. A veteran receiver may be about to take on a bigger role, and at the same time, a legendary running back is approaching another historic milestone. These 2 stories are more connected than they seem, and what happens next could decide the Ravens' fate. Todd Monken hints at a bigger role for DeAndre Hopkins, and a shift in the Ravens' offensive identity. The last week was anything but calm for Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. With the team coming off a frustrating 2-game losing streak, the spotlight has turned heavily on the offense. Questions are being raised about the execution, play selection, and even Lamar Jackson's physical condition. At the same time, Monken's name has quietly surfaced behind the scenes as a potential head coach candidate in 2026, adding another layer of intrigue to every word he says. As the Ravens prepare for a crucial divisional matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, Monken spoke to the press and, perhaps unintentionally, gave Ravens fans something to get excited about. He suggested that as Lamar Jackson continues his recovery, the offense could rely more on planned quarterback runs, a familiar formula that fueled Baltimore's most dominant periods in recent years. But that wasn't the most interesting part. When questioned about roster usage, both Coach John Harbaugh and Monken opened the door to a conversation Ravens fans have been waiting for: the possibility of a bigger role for veteran wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Monken directly acknowledged the idea, making it clear that while it's easy to talk about involving Hopkins more, the challenge lies in execution. Monken emphasized balance, not just in play selection, but in distributing opportunities throughout the offense. He mentioned Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and even the running backs, stressing that a truly elite offense needs to remain flexible and unpredictable. According to Monken, the Ravens' ability to stretch defenses both horizontally and vertically depends on everyone's involvement, and Hopkins is undeniably part of that equation. This is where the situation becomes fascinating. Lamar Jackson isn't 100% healthy, and the offensive line has struggled to provide consistent protection. Meanwhile, Bateman continues to demonstrate an explosive ability to create plays, proving he can make a difference. The question now is whether Baltimore is willing to adjust its approach, possibly simplifying reads, relying on the reliability of veterans, and allowing Hopkins to become a more consistent presence in the passing game. The idea of a more involved DeAndre Hopkins isn't just about receiving passes. It's about stabilizing an offense that has lacked rhythm in recent weeks. Hopkins' experience, route accuracy, and physicality can serve as an outlet for Jackson, especially when the protection falters. If Monken delivers on these promises, it would signal a significant evolution in the Ravens' offensive philosophy, one that prioritizes adaptability over rigidity. And this evolution leads directly to the Ravens' most reliable player when things get chaotic. Derrick Henry on the verge of history, and the Ravens may need him more than ever. While the Ravens' passing game searches for consistency, one truth remains unchanged: Derrick Henry is still king. Baltimore is fortunate to have one of the most dominant running backs in NFL history, and even in what some might call an underwhelming year by his extraordinary standards, Henry continues to produce at an elite level. Over 14 weeks, Henry has accumulated 1,025 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns on 222 attempts. These numbers place him 6th in the league in rushing yards and 5th in rushing touchdowns, remarkable achievements considering the Ravens' ongoing struggles with the offensive line. Henry has often been stopped by defenders at or behind the line of scrimmage, but his strength, vision, and relentless style continue to overcome adversity. Beyond the weekly statistics, Henry is quietly climbing the all-time record books. He now ranks 11th in NFL history in career rushing yards, 5th in rushing touchdowns, and 13th in total touchdowns. With 4 games remaining in the regular season, his rise is far from over. In Week 15 against the Cincinnati Bengals, Henry is just 54 rushing yards away from another historic milestone. Since joining the Ravens in 2024, he has accumulated 2,946 rushing yards, the NFL's best mark. Another solid performance will make him only the 4th player in league history to record at least 3,000 rushing yards in his first 2 seasons with a new team, joining legendary names like Ricky Williams, Priest Holmes, and Hall of Famer Jerome Bettis. That achievement seems inevitable. Henry has surpassed the 54-yard mark in 9 of his 13 games this season and has done so in 8 consecutive games. The last time he faced the Bengals, he rushed for 60 yards and a touchdown in just 10 attempts. The story, the moment, and the matchup all point in the same direction. More importantly, the Ravens may need Henry to take charge. With the offense struggling to find rhythm and the passing game still adjusting, the most reliable path forward is to trust the player who has repeatedly proven he can carry the team on his shoulders. Even when the offensive line falters, Henry finds a way to impose his will. If Todd Monken truly embraces the balance, involving Hopkins more while letting Henry dictate the pace, Baltimore's offense could rediscover its identity at the most critical moment of the season. In a decisive divisional matchup, allowing Derrick Henry to control the game not only increases the chances of victory, it could also solidify another legendary chapter in the King's career. And if that happens, the Ravens' season could change as quickly as this story began. Do you think the Ravens' path to victory lies in a more balanced offense, with DeAndre Hopkins finally taking on a bigger role in the passing game, while Derrick Henry carries the team toward another historic moment? Share your opinion in the comments. Would you change anything about this attack?